With the intense heat that we're experiencing this summer, many folks are looking for ways to decrease their energy bill when it comes to their air conditioner, the appliance that uses the most electricity by far, and ways that we can get cooler air from our AC vents. So in this video, I'm going to show you an amazing product that can not only lower the monthly bill of your electricity for your air conditioner, but it can also cause you to have cooler air coming out of your vents this summer. So let's get right into it. All right, so here's my AC unit. Now, as you can see, it is 91 degrees outside. Before we do this test, we're gonna do a couple of measurements. First of all, we're going to do a decibel count from about 4 feet away from the unit. So let's go ahead and do that first. I would say 63 is probably the decibels from right here. So we'll make note of that just for reference. And next we're gonna take a temperature reading at our vents. Our unit has been running for at least 10 minutes now. I have it cranked down to like 67. So let's see what we got at our vents. So this has been sitting for about, sitting here at the vent for about 5 minutes. We're just right at 53 degrees. So we'll keep that number in mind for our before and after test. The last thing that we're going to check is our amp draw. So we're gonna take this cover off and we're gonna show you what the amps on this system are while the unit is running, before and after. Now, if you wanna work on your AC system, one of the tools that I highly recommend is this Klein nut driver. As you can see, it has 6 different sizes, very easy to use. And it also has this feature where you can actually remove this assembly from the handle. And so like right here, getting to this would be impossible otherwise. So it's very compact. You can also put it on a drill, which makes it really easy. If you're curious where to find this, simply go down to the video description, click my favorite HVAC tools, and you can find this nut driver as well as all my other favorite HVAC tools there. The other advantage to using this versus a drill is that you can easily strip these screws out when you go to put them back on, whereas if you're just hand tightening them, you're guaranteed to not strip those out. Okay, so now that we have the cover off, we're going to look at our schematic on the back panel here, and we can see our compressor right here. Now, the R is for the run winding, and that's what we're going to be looking for. So if we trace this, it's a red wire. So we're gonna clamp onto this red wire right here, and we're gonna see what our before amps are. As you can see, we've got 4.4 amps. So we're gonna go ahead and put our cover back on. We're going to install the water system, and then we're gonna check, and then we're gonna do all of these measurements over and see how this thing actually works. Okay, so this is everything that comes in the package. We've got a 20-foot hose. So if your AC unit is within 20 feet of your hose bib, this will work perfectly fine. Then we have the 3 hoses that will go to the sides of the unit, and we have the little orifices that will spray. Now, if you have really hard water, this is preferable, and it comes with a kit, which is super cool. So this will keep calcium from building up on the sides of the unit. Now, just for those of you who are wondering about water consumption, this unit, while it runs throughout the day in the middle of summer, uses about as much as it takes to flush the toilet once in your home. So it's not much water at all that this system is going to be using, and I think it could be very beneficial, but we're gonna find out. And lastly, this is the piece that actually activates the water. So this will flap up anytime the AC unit comes on, and it will tell the water to turn on. So let's go ahead and slap this bad boy on our AC unit and see what the results are. All right, so the very first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna shut off our power. Just gonna pull our disconnect, flip this upside down so we can store it there. And as you can see, the Cool and Save has an adhesive sticker right here. So we're just gonna orient this however you want, and it just sticks. So just make sure the top of this is nice and clean. Stick it to it, and then we'll make our connections. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna hook up our main water source. Now, obviously, if you were going to install this permanently, which I might very well do depending on the results of this test, or get a little T that goes here, and then we can still have access for a regular hose. So now that that's connected, we're just gonna look for a suitable location for this. and all you do is just cut it, and then you just slide the plastic tubes into each end. It's just a quick connect, and it's very easy to do. So I'll show you what that looks like. So we're just gonna clip this right here. We're going to slide this end in. It just locks in, and it's literally that easy. Now this says this is a 3-month filter. You can go depending on how hard your water is and see how it functions, but it says 3 months on here, just full disclosure. So we're just gonna set that there, and then we will just measure out our line, and we'll just go right up to this main port, which is the blue one, and it says in right here, and then there's your 3 taps for the 3 tubes that will come out on each side. Okay, so we have our main line connected here. The next thing that we're gonna do is we're just gonna roughly measure, because each AC unit is a different height. We want this to be about in the center of our unit. And the way that these are bent is that they just stay right here. We could choose to zip tie this to the cage if we wanted to, but we're just gonna make note of where this is, and we're going to cut it to that length. So we got that cut. We're just gonna slide this in. Just kind of wiggle it, slide it in, and eventually it will stay. And that's pretty much it. So we're just gonna repeat for this side, and then our installation will be complete. Now, if you notice inside of this tube, there's actually a wire, probably for preventing that buildup to occur. I'm not sure why, but the water actually travels around the wire. So feel free to cut this, whatever the length is there, and don't worry about this wire. All right, guys, so our install is complete. I chose to put some zip ties just here to make sure that these stay in place. This did not come with the kit, but I just thought it was a nice thing to keep these completely straight so that the water is just spraying out like that. So let's go ahead and put our disconnect back in, and let's do our measurements and see how this guy works. Let's go ahead and turn our water on. And let's go ahead and put our disconnect in. There you go. See this thing working already. So we're gonna give this about 10 minutes, and we're gonna do the same exact test and see what the results of this system is. All right, so our unit's been running for about 15 minutes now, so I'm gonna shut up and show you what the decibel count is with no surrounding sound. So not much of a difference there as far as the decibel count, but we're going to remove that cover, and we're going to check our amp draw and see if we've dropped it all from that 4.4, I believe it was. All right, so with our system running with the misters here, as you can see, we're sitting at 3.6 amp draw. So we've actually dropped from our 4.4 that we had on here before. So this system is pulling less on the compressor. So it is going to save over the days of hot, especially if you're sitting in the direct sunlight. My system only has like this window when it's sitting in the sun, which is around 11 o'clock to noon. But the hottest part of the day is when the sun is setting. And if my unit was out there, this thing would be baking in the sun, and this would actually help a lot more in that scenario. But even so, it was pulling less amps because of this apparatus. And I would leave this on my system, but we're actually going to be replacing this with a hyperheat heat pump very soon. So we're going to show you that whole replacement. We're going to show you how to remove this system, how to pump all the refrigerant in. We're going to leave our furnace. We're going to put a heat pump coil and a heat pump condenser, and we'll show you from start to finish how to replace that. So as you can see, we have 52.5 degree air coming out of our registers. So it is lower than what we originally measured at 53.2. almost a whole degree. So that can make a big difference in the summer months for sure. Again, this is also dependent on where your AC unit is. If your AC unit is directly in the sunlight, this temperature could be lower by a significant amount, but for me, we got about an extra degree of cooling. Now, the one thing that I recommend if you're gonna buy one of these systems is some condenser fans don't put out super even airflow. So before you actually stick this, you can rotate it to see what has the best airflow. Mine has airflow all the way around, no problem. But I wish I would have oriented it to where this isn't spraying on my foundation. So in hindsight, I would have rotated this to where I have one here, one on the outside, and one on this side. So just keep that in mind if you're gonna install one of these on your AC unit. Well, folks, I am super impressed with the Cool and Save. As you saw, that install literally took me about 10 to 15 minutes, and I feel like any homeowner can install this on their air conditioner and save money in the summer months. As always, you can find a link for this product in the video description, and you can also find our Amazon store where you can find all of my favorite HVAC tools there. Now, if you're looking for other ways to get more efficiency and cooler air from your system, check out this video right here, and we're gonna show you 3 things that any homeowner should be able to do when it comes to maintaining their AC unit and keeping that air nice and cold. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, you guys be safe. Later.